Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works in the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hey, I'm WeiryWriter.
Also joining me is a creeper named Evgeni because he's staring at his camera so weirdly. Because before we started, he was laughing, and I'm like, no, you should, look at the camera when we're about to start. And then he's like...
I mean, I followed the instructions.
I definitely need to be more clear with instructions. Also, what's your handle?
It is Argent.
You had to think about that way too much. Also joining me...
No, here,
Okay.
no. Shut up, that's Grace, she's Get a Girl.
What? No, I have an intro for her.
The reason I thought about it is because I'm also doing this stupid thing where I have a glove on my safe hand, even though men don't have a safe hand. And so you said handle, and I was trying to figure out a way to seg into hand, but it didn't work.
It's a lot better when you explained what you were trying to do later. Like that's the best kind of comedy.
Look, I am adjacent to a divine god beam. Leave me alone.
Someone's very offended because you said that. I like how you're not, traditional Vorin roles, gender roles.
No. I figure if Dalinar is able to learn how to read and write, then I can keep my left hand warm.
I mean, you are in Chicago. Also joining me from a place where there is not snow currently is Grace.
Hello, I'm the amazing Gator Girl.
The amazing Gator Girl. Whoa.
Wow.
And you're also in your natural habitat, which when we recorded audio podcasts, we got used to this background, but none of the viewers have seen this background for you yet.
No, and you can all look at the books and see if you get titles and judge me for them in the comments.
Yes. And
I found Defending Elysium.
Yes, yeah. And here's my leather bound. Hey. Although, by the time this airs, most people will have their leather bound, so that's not really.
Let's check the status on my leather bound.
Oh, great. I'm Chaos.
Nope.
Also, we are now using Discord, so if you have complaints about the audio quality, #blame Discord. Easy. Also, I can adjust people's audio levels now if they're being too soft or too loud. It's great.
I feel like Discord has become very common for things such as this. So
I don't know. I have used Skype for many years, and for some reason, Argent's super quiet, so I had to ridiculously enhance his levels, whereas in Skype, he's always the loudest person ever.
You're also a curmudgeonly old man, so...
Yeah, I don't know. So today, guys, we are going to talk about some more Skyward Words of Brandon.
And save us.
And so remember the last episode when I said there would probably just be one more Skyward Tour Words of Brandon episode? I lied.
Well, technically true, because we're going to tour in Idaho Falls.
Whoa. Grace, can you repeat what you just said? Because you got super robot-y.
Technically, that's true. We're going to have one tour episode and one Idaho Falls episode.
What the
Sorry, I don't know why you're suddenly becoming a robot. Let's...
Okay, like pretty much all of you are robots.
Yeah, that's because that's your internet right now.
That's weird.
Okay, take 3.
Yeah.
Technically true, because we're doing one.
Why?
Discord does not like the word technically.
It was fine.
Okay. Take 4. Final take. If it's robot-y, it is, okay? It just
without the word technically.
Yeah, just don't say the word technically. That's right.
Because one of these will be an Idaho Falls signing episode.
Oh,
God, it's so bizarre. It starts off as robotic, and then it fixes itself.
Can you just like cobble all of those takes together into like one thing?
You know what? I probably could. You're right, Robot Grace. It is an Idaho Falls signing. We'll see if I can edit you being robot-y together, because that took you 4 tries, and every time you sounded robot-y.
Oh,
I need to hear what Robot Grace sounds like.
Oh no. Yeah, Discord's great, guys. Discord's amazing.
Except when
Discord just had issues today.
Yeah, Discord's great. So you know what? You might get some Robot Grace. You might get Robot Lots of Us. That's just how it's gonna be today, guys. All right, and also in the last 2 episodes, I didn't change the scene, so I couldn't display Words of Brandon. And look at me as we go into WoB mode. Whoa! Now we're here.
I didn't know which corner of the thing I was in, so I
well, right now you're in a row, so.
We're
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, hello, Word of Brandon.
God. All right, let's save us from our 7 minutes of nonsense that we've started this show with. I promise we're not deliberately padding these Words of Brandon episodes. That is not true.
Don't need to.
This is just the
We
schedule.
just haven't done this for a while.
That's true.
so-
That's true. This is the first one we've recorded since State of Sanderson when that came out. So we're getting back into it. We needed to do some scheduled banter, okay? You know?
Okay, so we're starting with Chicago.
Oh yeah.
You guys,
So we'll probably get some.
You guys want to see Chicago?
I thought we were ending the scheduled banter. I didn't
Oh,
know
it's just
Chicago
a
was just a
blur.
bright white light. I didn't know that actually.
See, no, that's
It's just
That's
heaven.
It's, oh, Chicago's
the medal that Steelheart turned the city into.
yeah, right. It's just going off that glare. Also,
It's okay. It's 2 p.m. Eventually, I'll show you Chicago.
okay. You're just gonna be Robot Gator today, so that's fine. Alrighty, Ian, take us in.
Mecha Gator.
Mecha Gator
Online.
online.
So to finally get us started,
Yes.
this questioner asks, in Arcanum Unbounded, you have a map of the universe, and specifically they know of a certain star system called the Scar. Mind explaining a little bit? Brandon, you can see it from several of the planets in the sky, which that's not explaining a whole lot, and it's also
Yeah.
not a star system.
Yeah. Welcome to Shardcast criticizes your Words of Brandon.
I mean,
Dear questioner, if you ask this question, Ian hates you.
it's an inaccurate question.
Are you calling our listeners dumb?
No, I'm calling them inaccurate.
And their Reddit usernames are hard to pronounce. Yeah, I mean, the Scar's weird, but yeah, I feel like we won't hear about this until like Mistborn Era 4. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
The Scar is it's fine. It's great.
Mhm.
I'm
And-
sure something's gonna happen there eventually, or has happened there at some point in the past, but it's like
But
Whatever.
this really doesn't tell us anything we didn't already know.
That's right.
Yep. How about we talk about some more space then? And
Space! We already talked about the space whales, though.
we did. I love the space whales.
Okay.
But the question is not about space whales, it's about Skyward. How many years in the universe has passed between the short story and the novel? Centuries.
For
says
what?
Brandon.
For what novel?
Skyward.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was too busy making whale noises to pay attention. So I just wanted to have the
I
listeners.
mean, I understand.
Yeah. They were very exciting.
Making whale noises is important.
That's an integral part of this show, okay?
But yeah, so centuries between defending Elysium.
That
and-
centuries seems short to me.
I mean,
They have to make the ancient city, the ancient world of detritus, and for it to actually be ancient and long abandoned before they get there.
I mean,
I feel like you
ancient
can...
is not a technical term.
I know!
Well, actually it is, but
Like,
in this circumstance...
it's like more than 300 years, though. It's not like the after defending Elysium, it's like, you know what's the first thing we're gonna do? We're gonna go to detritus and build a giant Dyson sphere thing. And then we will conquer all the aliens. Then we're going to abandon that place. And then later we're gonna come back. Like, it's gotta be like 1,000
I will also
years.
say centuries could be 9 centuries.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like centuries can work up until like 2,000 years.
Okay. Yeah. I guess.
I think
guess.
the important thing is it's not decades and it's not millennia.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I guess.
Cool. Why don't we buzz in the next question?
All right. So this questioner asked, "Is the phone company still a thing?" Brandon responded, "They are still around, and I plan to at least have cameos."
Interesting.
Now, is this just a cameo of the phone company or certain members of the phone company that we already
Yeah,
know?
Grace. What do you think?
Well, I mean, at the time of defending the main phone company, they're over 100 years old, and we don't know how their like anti-aging stuff is. So
Yeah. That's true.
They have some moisturizer. Very good.
I like how you just have that on your desk.
Yeah. He does not fit traditional gender roles, Argent.
No, it's my glove
You gotta moisturize.
and my moisturizer. I also have this sweat defense.
Why do you have that on your desk?
Don't worry about it.
I haven't left this desk in 5,000 years.
I have $1. You guys want to see my dollar?
No, not when you say it like that. No, I don't.
I got $1. I got $1. I got $1. Hey, hey, hey.
What did you think I was gonna show you?
You want to show me? Want to see my dollar? Like, no, I'm good, actually. Next question.
Moving on.
Next question. I've studied aerospace medicine, so I wondered, Kaladin, is his shard plate going to have special properties that are going to help for very high altitude travel? Brandon, let's just say the fact that his 2 surges have to do with pressure and with gravity, let's just say that's on my mind. Yeah.
And that's not the first question we've seen that talks about windrunners and windrunning in space.
Space Runner!
Space. You can meet a space whale.
Right? And the space whale is going to be bonded to a spren, and so you can't have Roshadium in space. You need a different mount.
That would be more like space dolphins.
Yes!
And so Kaladin
Yeah!
and all the windrunners will ride a space whale.
What if the space whales are dragons? And then they do a bond with a dragon.
Sure, I buy it. I'm okay with that.
This questioner asks, did the physical, spiritual, and cognitive realms exist before Adenausium split? Brandon, they did. In fact, if you ever get a hold of Dragonsteel, which I don't let a lot of people read because it's got big spoilers and it doesn't really work anymore. It was one of the early books I wrote. It is the prelude to the Cosmere. The opening chapters are in a classroom where someone is learning about the 3 aspects. So yeah.
That is so telling and not showing and like classic fantasy. Hey, I need to info dump
Yes.
on my readers.
Yes. Yeah, right,
And so
right. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna put somebody in a classroom.
Yeah.
And we're gonna tell them about it.
I don't know if I'm in the minority with it, but I love those scenes in books where the student is just sitting there like taking
so
notes.
do I, but I love the world building.
Yes.
No, I just love it for the experience because I like magic school type stories.
Oh, okay, sure. See, this word of Brandon, I am so confused as to where Dragonsteel Prime is supposed to be set in the Cosmere. Because if you guys don't know, this is public knowledge here. Brandon wrote Dragonsteel Prime. Then and Dragonsteel Prime was supposed to be 5 books. 5. Then later he's like, I'm gonna write Dragonsteel, the Liar of Parnell. And then the second book of that was supposed to be Dragonsteel, the Light Weaver of Wrens. And those were gonna be prequels to the main Dragonsteel sequence. And so I always thought Liar of Parnell was when, that's Hoid origin story, right? And that's when the Shattering occurred, and so Dragonsteel Prime's after the Shattering. But this WoB makes it sound like it doesn't. And I'm just, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
I don't waste a lot of time thinking about Dragonsteel, because it's so in flux.
Yeah.
We'll find out in 40 years.
I'm so confused that I don't even know what the big spoilers are in it. Because I'm more just confused than oh yeah, these stunning revelations.
Well, I'm sure some things in various versions of Dragonsteel will become relevant.
Yeah.
In future Cosmere books, like when Dragonsteel is actually released. So yeah, there are technically spoilers, but we just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I probably shouldn't get into that.
No, you probably shouldn't.
I definitely should not.
What I will get into is this Kandra question. When a Kandra is born, how long would it take them to reach maturity? Longer than a human normally would take, says Brandon. It would depend on a couple of factors, such as how soon they're given spikes and things like that. So it sounds like Kandra age differently from Mist Wraiths, perhaps?
Is that what that means?
I think that's what that implies. Because if the timing of the granting of the blessings matters, like if you give the spikes to a young Mist Wraith, then they presumably kind of turn into a young Kandra. But if you give them to an old, mature Mist Wraith, they're not going to turn into a fully aware and capable Kandra.
Right.
They still need to go through a learning process, but I feel like that amount of learning is not going to be as much as in the first case.
Alternatively, it could be that a younger Mist Wraith can adapt to the spikes more quickly than an older Kandra.
That
older
seems
Mist
more
Wraith,
likely,
rather.
yeah.
It's like how children can learn languages more easily than adults.
Maybe, but Mist Wraiths are... They spend a lifetime just eating bodies and recreating their own bodies into various shapes, which is something Kandra do a lot as well. So a more experienced Mist Wraith, like that kind of muscle memory, might translate well.
Boo.
It was good. It was good. You can't silence me.
I mean, actually, I can, but
Literally
I'm the
can.
one recording this, so you know what?
Damn. Foiled
again. This is interesting to me because I think we argued in one of the earlier episodes about when Palm would be sapient and ready to go. And I don't know, I always got the impression from Hero of Ages that even the younger generations, they were way less capable than the older generations, by a lot.
Well, the first one definitely, because they were very stuck in their human mentality.
Yeah.
With generations after the first, I feel like it's a matter of practice and experience, not so much physiology. And so you have, with once you go into something like the 6th generation and the 7th generation and something like that, all those rebellious youngsters, they change bodies all the time. They experiment. They have funky true bodies made of weed.
Okay.
I mean, artistic interpretation of the text. They would be the ones that kind of break through the previously established limitations and understanding of how things work and so on. So I don't think it's an age thing.
Hmm.
Plus, Soon is kind of old now, and he's bowling.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I always got the impression that, like, it would take, like, a century for a Khandra to, like, really, like, be able to be in their own.
I can buy that. I can see that, yeah.
But, like, maybe that was more a function of, like, how the Khandra were trained in the Khandra homeland than, like, necessarily a physiological thing that's like, oh, this is just how we've always done things. Maybe.
I mean, we do see a group of, like, the most recent generation in Hero of Ages, and they're just blobs rolling around.
Yeah, I forget specifically what
because when they gain the spikes, they kind of forget how the natural instincts of being a Mistwraith.
Yeah, right.
And have to relearn how to do everything.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so this next questioner asked, I noticed that the third ideals have a similar theme to them. Is that intentional, Brandon? They do. That is intentional. They won't all exactly go along those lines, but I'm trying to theme them as best I can in groups. So all the first ones, all the second ones, particularly a lot of the third ones have a similar those I hate or even those I'd rather not listen to. Brandon, watch for more of that. It seems to me that a lot of these second ideals are kind of reiterations of the qualities that attracted the Spren in the first place.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
As the third ideal is kind of qualifying that to be more specific.
Right.
That makes sense.
It does. It's also kind of weird, right? Because if you make an oath to protect even those to protect those who cannot protect themselves, presumably even the ones you hate would be included in that.
Technically, yes. Whether or not you fully understand
Yeah,
that
like it's a
when you make
qualification
that oath.
About understanding.
Does it really deserve a third oath, though? Like,
Clearly.
Obviously it does.
Clearly.
That was,
It's something both of the Windrunners we've seen swear it struggled with a lot, so...
Yeah, because it's just like, oh, I'm going to protect people. It's like, oh, wait, I have to protect even people I don't like.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Right.
It's like, the second ideal is like swearing to this like nebulous idea, and the third ideal is grounding it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. It's just... I mean, obviously, that's how it works, right? We've seen it in the book, but it feels like all the third ideals we've seen are ideals that... they don't deserve to be ideals on their own. They need to be the Spren going, hey, hold up, I found a loophole in the second ideal. Can we talk about this real quick?
I mean, we really don't know how the oaths emerged at this point.
Very true. Yeah. Like,
so it could be as simple as like the Spren realizing, oh wait, there's a loophole here.
We need to make them swear it specifically. Very important. That's actually a really good question. Like how the oaths came to be.
I mean, Ishar was like, I'll mess you up.
And thrust or order upon the Surge Binders, right?
Yeah. The oaths are all about growth. So if there's something that is an important moment of growth for every knight in the order, it makes sense that it would be an ideal.
And
I thought growth was just one surge. Okay, sorry.
Progression is a surge.
You're welcome.
Growth is not.
You're welcome.
It's an ability.
Do we know if early Surge Binders had the oaths, or did they only emerge when the Knights Radiant were founded?
I feel like Surge Binders existed and the Oaths were later. I feel like pre-Knights Radiant Surge Binders were basically kind of like at Zeth's level, you know? Like they could do Zethy things, I don't know how
Maybe,
they would
yeah.
access their power, and like we see like in that Nohadon vision that like Alakavish, like the power was, very flashy even still. But I feel like, the Radiants now are a lot more powerful than those Surge Binders, and like they didn't have blades and stuff.
Nale. Yes,
Uh-huh.
I'm still on Nale.
I'm sorry, cool.
In Edge Dancer is like the greater power implicit in the oath,
Yeah.
or something along the lines.
Yeah.
So like there's something special about the oath.
Yeah, maybe
there is something there.
Maybe like the way it worked was in order to like structure the Radiance, Ishar like talked to Honor, and then they like kind of adapted things. It's like, okay, you can get like more of this power out, but you got to go through these process, because like when that's not regulated, that's bad. Or well, even
That could be it. Yeah.
Even with the Heralds, right? The Surges destroyed Ashen, right?
Yep.
In some respects.
There is. I've been re-listening to Oathbringer. I finished a couple of weeks back, and one of the things that I noticed that didn't make as much of an impression on me the first time around was when Kaladin is on Honor's path on the Honor Spren ship.
Yep.
And he's talking to, I think it's one of the Honor Spren,
Yes.
possibly the Mispren, but I think one of the Honor Spren.
I think one of the Honor Spren.
Nodum?
And the Spren's like, without honor to... Oh, the Radiants are returning. Without honor to check your power...
I think regulate was the word, wasn't it?
It may have been regulate, yeah. Things may get messed up.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen all that we can see from Radiance and Surge Binders.
I mean, even Honor was worried about the Radiance, even still, right? He was worried about it when he was alive. He was going insane, right? But he was worried about the power of the Surges.
Yeah.
And I wonder, because we've seen Stormfather go, "These words are accepted," multiple times.
Right, yeah.
So do we think Honor did that when Honor was around?
That seems likely, yeah. Yeah,
So like
that sounds
sort of
super
like the
likely.
regulation.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
I hadn't thought of
perhaps-
that, but yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Because that's not like the Stormfather has no ability to accept oaths in his capacity as a Spren of the High Storm.
Right. But as a remnant of
Must-
Honor.
Yeah, he must be doing that because he's got Honor's soul juice in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a matter of the Heralds talking to Honor and them like, yo, last time Surges were in the hands of humans, that did not work out so well. Let's, because they were surprised about Surge Binders, right? So yeah, you would want them regulated so they're not going to destroy another planet. Seems good.
I wonder how they messed up Ashen.
And well, like, how did them accessing the Surges even work on Ashen, right? Like, how did that even work?
That I'm not so. I mean, I am interested in it, but it's not. I'm not shocked that they were able to do that. Like, I can just accept that at a face value. Yeah, there was a shard there. Yeah, the fact that they're all in the same solar system means that they can access the same-ish powers, whatever. I can accept that. But to turn Ashen from presumably like a normal-ish looking planet, something like Post Catasendre Scadrial, to the thing we've seen in the Silence Divine read,
right.
with like lava flowing and volcanoes and chunks of rock just being ripped out and flying cities. Hello, gravitation surge.
There's actually
wonder-
a really cool quote in one of these two episodes about the flying cities. I'm very excited about that one, actually.
And so I do wonder how a bunch of people, like even on the power level of a Night Radiant, can do this much damage. Like, because presumably they didn't do this intentionally. Like, they didn't go out with the purpose, okay, we're gonna mess up this world.
Right, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They broke some balance there.
I mean, how did the Shattered Plains get created?
That's another huge question. Not by the
That
Fused.
is-
We explicitly know, not the Fused.
Nope.
I would not be surprised if it was by an extremely similar or the same method as Ashen being
I
destroyed.
think that's very likely. Dawn Shard?
Dawn Shards. That's the yeah. Shattered Plains is one of those things where, because it's a question that we didn't know the answer to, that was posed to us so early
Yeah.
in the books, it kind of flies under the radar every now and then.
Yeah.
And then you read the books and I'm like, wait, we still don't know how that happened.
It must be like some Dawn Shard stuff with the surges, and like we needed Oathbringer. We couldn't get the answer in Oathbringer because we need the reveal that like, oh no, the surges are really dangerous. You know, like there's some, it's like a big deal. And I feel like we will. We have to learn how the Shattered Plains happened.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it is weird
Mhm.
because now we've kind of moved away from the Shattered Plains, so it's like, how will that be relevant? You know?
Mhm.
I mean, whenever the Dawn Shards become relevant, or the history of on Ashen, that's another place.
Yeah. Back 5, yay!
Yay!
Let's go to the next question. That was a lot of things about, hey, let's group ideals.
Yeah.
All right. Questioner, when you transfer Divine Breath, is it possible to have it result in something other than healing? Brandon, lots of things are possible. Let's just say that is not something people know how to do, and they have tried to do something else.
Okay. Wasn't there a similar question at an earlier signing where
so.
Brandon talked about the like
Mhm.
it's not exactly a correct question. Like you don't
Yeah.
because divine breaths are not breaths in
Right.
the same way
Right,
that
yeah,
regular
yeah,
ones
right.
are. You don't transfer
Mhm.
those. You
Actualize them.
activate them. They become kinetic investiture.
Right, yes.
And they
yes.
do their thing.
Yes, right, yeah, yes. But it's like, could you make that kinetic investiture, like, do something else?
That is
Maybe
interesting.
with...
If you knew what you were doing,
Yeah, clearly.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can like use it to create an illusion, like a light weaving.
Mhm. But you only have one shot to practice, so
And then you die.
Yeah.
And then you die. Yeah, probably that's the real reason why there hasn't been a lot of experimentation in this regard. It's like, well, we get one shot. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, rip. Okay.
Yeah. Whereas they know healing works.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems to be the standard. Cool.
And healing is a very natural thing for investigator to do.
Yeah, that's, you know what?
That's
true. Very, very true.
Okay. Next question.
Yep.
Is asking about the terrace.
All right.
Is the reason why they don't have any Allomancy in their population, is that because they have less of preservation than the rest of the Scadrial population? Brandon, no, I wouldn't say it that way. Good question, but no.
It has always been strange to me, the origin of Ferrochemy. And like how that's different from Allomancy. I don't know if I really have any good answers or thoughts, but it's an interesting question.
The interesting thing is that the terrace were immune to the mist sickness.
Right.
Completely. They were not affected.
I didn't
And
remember that.
the mists were actually investing people to get allomantic abilities. They weren't just awakening latent. Yes, they were adding investiture. This is word of Brandon.
We need to find that. I don't remember that at all.
So from the firefight release party from Hero Wannabe, eventually Brandon is talking about how the number of like why weren't there Mistborn from this mist snappings, and it's because the number was important. And if you added Mistborn, there would be 17. Blah 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 blah. And Brandon goes on to say, like, remember what's going on is these are people it is snapping intentionally who did not like it's investing them, so it's either awakening a very little remnant in them or taking people who had. They wouldn't have been able to be mistings if the mist had intervened. Making someone a Mistborn takes way more power. So it was adding power to make people mystics. I feel like there's another one that says this way more explicitly, but that's the first one I found.
Yeah, that's a little vague, I would say.
I mean, it sounds like one of those things where Brandon is trying to say something and he starts different sentences multiple times and then finally
That's exactly what happened, but I feel it's clear.
That's very strange to me if it's actually adding investiture, personally.
But it makes sense.
Does it?
Because otherwise, what are the chances that exactly 16% of any given population has the genes and capability to be a mystic?
It just is weird because then someone who was already beaten, you know,
I mean, they don't need to snap everyone. Like,
but if
the
there
number,
were
the number of mistings in a population can be more than 1/16. The job of the mists is to pick out exactly 1/16.
Yes, but theoretically, there would be at least one group of people where that percentage would be less than 16, and yet it still became 16.
I don't know, that just seems weird to me because I feel like with someone who is already like beaten,
I mean, I
could then the mists add extra stuff and then just make them mistings? Like, that's a can of worms, in my opinion. Like,
that's pretty much exactly what this is saying.
I mean, I think it's a lot less explicit than you think it is, but
I see where you're coming from, and I see why it makes sense to you. I don't think it's as clear as you think it is.
Okay. Taking people who could not be mistings and making them mistings.
Well, they wouldn't have been able to be mistings if the mist hadn't intervened. That's super standard. A Lendik wouldn't be a misting if the mist didn't intervene. That's just saying the power is so latent that you need the mist to snap. You just can't punch someone in the face enough for it to come out. That doesn't mean what you're just saying it is.
Yeah.
There is enough room for interpretation that we're gonna abandon this whole can of worms and talk about bugs. If Hoyd encountered a Larkin, would anything happen? Hoyd is aware of Larkin, says Brandon's. Great. So he's avoiding them? I'm just gonna say he's aware of them. Okay, Brandon. Thank you.
Hoyd engineered the scouring of Amia specifically to destroy Larkin so they wouldn't destroy him.
Sure.
I don't think Hoyd would have anything to fear from a Larkin.
I don't think so either.
Beyond it eating his
Stormlight
illusions.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because there's a difference between kinetic investiture and innate.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Larkins don't go around eating people's souls, so...
Although I would read a fanfic about that. Super.
I mean, that's how you get face flushers.
Ren either.
Yeah, right.
It is interesting if they can eat Spren. But yeah, I don't think he's worried about him either.
I don't think so. Yeah. It's just Brandon being coy.
He might be interested in them for, his own collection, but I don't think he's worried.
Oh man. This next one.
Oh man.
Hey Grace, remember when you said about nitty-gritty Scadrian stuff? Why don't you read this next one?
Okay. As far as hemalurgy, when it's done to somebody, would that create a new resonance? Brandon. It's possible that it could. Though I'm gonna say most of the time, no. Lots of things are possible, but I'll give you a mostly no on that one. What about savantism? Is that possible with hemalurgy? Yes, it is.
So mostly no on acquiring a resonance through hemalurgy?
Right.
It's either that or if there would be a new resonance that involves it being hemalurgic.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because the questioner does say, would that create a new resonance? Sure.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I
Yeah,
think that
because
makes more
because
sense,
Resident
yeah.
just
You're right.
it's a mixing of the powers, and it doesn't really matter where the power comes from. It is the power. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is it possible to become a savant through hemolurgy? Yes, it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Savantism is all about just using the power a lot.
Yeah. Part of the savantism is a little weird to me because it's also like damage to your body. Like,
It's damage to your body because you're damaging your soul.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
right.
ripping off a piece of that soul.
Right, yeah,
That is
yeah,
damage.
yeah. It would be a bit different, like if you spiked a savant, then like.
Oh, is that so? I was reading it in the other direction. Like, can you become a savant if you acquire a spike? Is how I was.
Oh wow, yeah. This question's super vague now that I think about it. Wow, wow. This question is like, wow. What about savantism? Is that possible with hemorrhagy? Yes, if you have a hemorrhagic spike, yeah, you should totally be able to become a savant. And Inquisitors do, right?
Yeah.
Like they totally do. That's why they can see in blue, right? Like they're burning steel or iron all the time.
Which I never thought about it, but now that I think about it, it reminds me of the Neo vision from the Matrix.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, of course.
I bet that's exactly what it looks like, except not with green zeros and ones,
Yeah,
but
it's
with
blue. Blue lines. Yep.
Can you cue in Eiffel 65 real quick?
No. This video has been flagged due to copyright. All right, next one. Questioner, you know how the whole group goes into Shadesmar? What would happen if they accidentally eat a bead and leave Shadesmar? Brandon, that would not be good for them. Questioner, would they just explode with whatever the object was? Brandon, that's not exactly how it works, fortunately. But I wouldn't recommend ingesting any beads. What would happen?
Yeah.
What?
I hadn't thought about this before, but I'm
No.
very curious.
How? What?
So
I don't know if I want to know.
I
That's
don't.
true. That is very true.
So here's my theory.
Okay.
The bead will not be able to leave Shadesmar.
Uh-huh.
And so as you go through the perpendicularity,
Oh. Okay.
it will just stay behind.
And it's gonna rip anything coming that if it's in your stomach.
Yeah, so
right.
So if we go with Brandon's, it's not gonna be good for them, then it just rips a hole.
Yeah,
Well,
okay. I
well,
think that's
it's not gonna be able to rip a hole. It's like it's gonna hold you back, right?
Oh, okay.
It's like you have
Yeah.
a fish hook in your stomach.
Mhm.
But that doesn't make sense to me
Uh-huh.
because if you are in Shadesmar, you are investiture. And if you need to go back to the physical world, you need to convert that investiture back
Right.
into matter. And so I would have thought that in the process of conversion back into matter, like the bead just
Yeah. 'Cause
drops.
it's not like a doorway you're walking through.
Yeah.
It's like the transporter from Star Trek. You're
Yeah.
dematerializing and rematerializing.
You go through the perpendicularity, you turn into matter energy investiture, the bead doesn't. And then on the other side, you are reconstructed. But that's not consistent with what we see in the book, though. Because when Dalinar opens Honor's perpendicularity, the Shadesmar crew, they just step out. Like Kaladin leaps, like he erupts from the beam of light, already in motion,
Right.
blocking a spear.
right.
It's still not just a doorway, though. Like,
No,
yes,
no, it's
momentum is like preserved, but like there was still like the dematerialization, rematerialization thing.
But it's not what it looks like. Like, it
Maybe-
upsets me as well,
Yeah.
but it's not what it looks like. It
Maybe
looks
it-
like a door.
Maybe eating the bead has some effect on the object in the physical realm. Like,
Oh.
you can go through, but if you ate the Kolinar Palace and you come through, the Kolinar Palace is gone.
Or inside
no.
you, and then you explode with cola.
Brandon
Brandon says that's not
said
how it
no.
works.
Yeah, right.
My thing is, you take the bead through, you're destroying the cognitive aspect.
The thing is, like, if you take an object, a physical object, into the cognitive realm, it doesn't turn into a bead.
No.
Right.
So, like, the bead shouldn't turn into the object if you could take it out, which theoretically you should be able to take it out of the cognitive.
This is all just like hurting my head with additionally like with Spren. What does Spren look like when a shard blade summoned? And like all these questions, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we may need to leave this one on.
Yeah, we need some advanced realmatics here to figure this one out.
The only other thing that I can think might be relevant here is how manifestation of souls work in Shadesmar.
Sure.
Specifically towards the end when Shallan and Adolin and Kaladin were fighting the Fused when they were trying to go through the Oath Gate.
Right.
When Shallan manifests the soul of a wall, the bead that was the cognitive aspect of that wall was attached to the wall itself. So you had a perfectly fine-looking wall with a bead in the middle. Except
the wall was a facsimile made of other beads. That bead was just
Nope. No. You're thinking when she was using the souls to like shape objects so they can traverse the ocean.
Okay.
I'm talking about at the end, there was a flying fused charging her, and she didn't have anything, and she panicked, and she had a bead of a wall in her pocket, and she panics, doesn't know what she does, and then hears a thump, looks up, and there's a wall connected to the bead in her pocket. And then because the fused hit themselves on that wall.
So this is more like the cold thing
it's exactly like that. Yeah, it's manifesting souls. Using Stormlight to make objects form a shape, it's not manifestation.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Cognitive realm's weird. That's all I like. However, Brandon wants it to work. Like, okay, Brandon, we're in the cognitive realm. All right, cool. What does the Everstorm look like in Shadesmar? I don't know. Whatever Brandon wants it to. Like,
it's not spiritual mumbo jumbo, but it's the next best thing.
It's cognitive mumbo jumbo.
It's cognitive mumbo jumbo.
My favorite mumbo jumbo. Cool.
So this next questioner asks, so shard blades are modeled after the honor blades. Are honor blades modeled after something else? Brennan, the honor blades were provided for the heralds. The person doing the providing honor was aware of certain things. So yes, but not really. I can answer a yes, but it's more like a big asterisk.
Do you think this is just talking about, hey, we need giant blades to cut through like enormous
I
things?
think this is saying that Honor was an anime fan and just liked huge swords.
He was aware of certain things. He was aware of anime. He went through the void, spent all of his Shardic time to just watch pre-shattering anime.
I mean, space and time don't exist in the spiritual realm.
Right.
So.
That's right.
So sure, you can watch Bleach in the spiritual realm.
But like, he designed the blades to have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
To like, kill some fuse, presumably, right?
I don't think this is saying anything new.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's see if the next question says anything new.
Oh, I like this one.
Was Roshar equally invested by cultivation and honor originally? Yes, says Brandon. How about now, since he's been ... question mark? Brandon says, the investiture is all still there, which makes sense. It's not all accessible. So at this point, I'd say it's a point of disputation. It would be worth arguing either way. I will say at this point, no, it's not equal anymore. But definitions of where the power is and what it counts as is ambiguous. So cultivation has more active investiture, Yeah, I would say yes. Well, but she's been very coy. I'm gonna leave it at that.
There's a lot to parse through on this. I don't know how much we can actually glean from this, but
Well, so originally equally invested, great.
hmm
So we are looking at another situation similar to ruin and preservation, right?
Mhm.
Before the creation of humanity there.
yeah.
And then the investiture is all still there. Fantastic.
Yep.
That makes sense to me. It's not all accessible. Presumably, not all of Honor's investiture is still accessible.
Yeah.
Right.
Is what this is saying.
Right.
Now, reading the last sentence, it also might be that some of cultivations is also not available, right?
I
whatever.
mean, it would have to not be available because it's in the spread. Like a lot of it is, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's the impression I got.
yeah,
Like
right.
it's bound up in the spread.
But with the, how about now, since he's been, dead, right? The investiture is all still there. It's not all accessible. Like, how did Honor's death, like, what did that do with that investiture? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think this is all exactly right.
the spread has to
yeah.
be the outlet, so it wasn't
Yeah.
super disastrous, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honor
And so like if
gets splintered, and all of that investiture seeks life.
Sure.
All the chunks turn into spren. Yeah, some of it probably goes back to the high storms or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's why it's not accessible.
yes, so if someone were to take up Honor right now, they wouldn't have as much free reign as Tanavas did,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
because
Right.
a larger percentage of their power is bound up in the spread.
Right.
Yeah.
It is like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
could get access to that investiture by killing off the spread,
Right.
but that's not a
Is it-
super honorable thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. So what's this meaning of, so cultivation has more active investiture? Yes, I would say yes. What?
That means like she has more investiture she can do stuff with.
Oh,
Like it's
okay.
not bound up in other things
Oh, okay, sure,
Yeah.
okay.
like spread.
I was
But
reading this
I'm
differently.
guessing
That's
the next sentence, and then the she's very coy is more just like she's kind of been hoarding it, not really giving it out to people, sort of thing.
maybe.
Or
Yeah.
the things she's been doing with it aren't super obvious.
Right, yeah, probably more likely, yeah. Put them all
Like-
in Dawn Shards.
Doing a
Putting
pruning of Dalinar.
Putting her investiture in thorns.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next questioner basically said that Marsh could be a world hopper because there's nothing about his investiture that would prevent him from going off-world, and asked who would be prevented, and Brandon said Kelsier, but he got very close. And then the questioner asked, is there anyone living on Scadrial who that would also apply to? Brandon said, as a default, no. I can't say 100% whether there's nobody, but as a default, that wouldn't prevent people. Not in the same way that you would have trouble getting off-world with a Spren bond.
Okay.
Okay.
So the fact that humans were created on Scadrial the same way as the world was created doesn't mean that they are super connected to the world to the point where they can't leave.
Yeah.
They're still physical beings.
Right.
Yep.
Whereas Kelsier,
Yeah.
little different when you're a cognitive shadow, and then preservation's like, yo, keep around.
There's more to them than just investiture.
Right.
So like the investiture is like really anchoring them to their bodies rather than the planet. Sort of.
I could kind of dig that.
Not gonna address that.
Yeah. Dragon13 asks, in the Way of King's epilogue, Hoyd was playing an Enthier. That instrument looks very similar to the one played by the musician in White Sand. Brandon, yes, they are related.
Because they're probably the same.
That's probably
They-
Hoyd.
very likely the same instrument.
Yeah, I mean, and that's obviously the reason the question is there, right?
Oh man.
Oh, it's this one.
Oh boy,
this
Ian. Aren't you excited? We're getting so much Scadrial stuff in this one.
Yes. What happens to god metals when a shard is splintered? Brandon, god metals are unaffected. Brandon, questioner, and Atium Lerasium stayed unaffected when they merged? Brandon, Lerasium and Atium that existed before were unaffected.
I mean, this makes sense to me.
Yes, but I don't like that you can't have Lerasium or Atium anymore because Laros and Ati are dead.
Yes. I'm actually gonna... There's another one about Atium and Lerasium from Houston, so I'm gonna go a little out of order here. The questioner is like, if I were to alloy Atium and Lerasium, would I get Harmonium? Brandon, it's different after the shards combined. If I was to take Harmonium and separate it out through distillation, would I get Lerasium and Atium or something inaudible similar? Brandon, no you would. It actually has become a different... Questioner, can't be split? Brandon, yeah, I mean, you could find a way, but you're not going to get it through normal mechanical means.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense to me. Harmonium is it's an element, right?
Yes.
Right.
So
right.
You can't distill oxygen into lithium and something else. You could chemically create that reaction, but it's not a distillation, it's not filtering, it's not an alloy.
Yeah, and personally I think it should have been an alloy because
yeah,
the overemphasization of harmony as a distinct shard, whereas I'm more on the side no, it's just ruin and preservation mashed together.
Yeah,
the two shards are still there.
The extent at which they're enmeshing is not clear, and I mean this definitely makes it think that this definitely implies that it's more enmeshed than... I mean, I'm with you, Ian, but clearly it's enmeshed more, right?
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
I mean, Sazed has to contend with two conflicting intents. The two shards are still there.
Yes, they are, but Harmony himself is a different entity.
Yeah.
The mind, the cognitive aspect of all of this comes into play. It is important. It is critical. And Harmony sees himself as Harmony. Not as a wielder of the two shards, ruin and preservation.
And going back, Ian, to the one that's there's no more Ati, there's no more Atium, Brandon saying, Lerasium and Atium that existed before were unaffected, so that's good, I guess?
Yeah, it's
that's good.
You can't get new Atium because Ati is gone.
Right, which does make more sense because it's different now, right?
Well, there's, in my opinion, there's no reason Sazed shouldn't be able to just make Atium when he wants
I would
to.
agree. I would agree with that. Maybe it's... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Right, yes.
And last question from Chicago. You guys see Chicago? It's out there.
No. It still looks like a god ray to me.
We'll try again in a moment. Dragon 13 again. In the conduit that seems to be powering the Eyrie Fortress, can that act as a safe passage through the cognitive realm of Cell? Yes. Maybe not the way you're implying, but yes.
Ooh, a person probably wouldn't be able to get in the conduit and
Right. So we're talking about that thick cable, right?
Yes.
That goes from Cell's cognitive to outer space. So you would really need something like an underground, like a metro.
Welcome to the Shadesmar. This episode is sponsored by Shadesmar Subway.
Subway, that's the word I was looking for. So you would need a tube made of, or a tunnel made of investiture to shield you from the turmoil that is in Cell's cognitive, right? Because the problem is there's a storm there, right? How do you deal with storms? You build a house.
Ian, do you have thoughts on this one?
Nothing
Well,
I'm saying here is wrong.
No.
I would say the way you deal with storms is you seek shelter. Which
I
in
suspect
some cases might be building a house,
Sure.
but not every case.
Go ahead,
I
Grace.
suspect with how Brandon has described the cell cognitive realm before, a house is not shelter.
No, not sufficient. No, not quite. Also, I would not want to particularly start a construction project in a storm, but you know, I get your meaning.
Well, no, but you start from the outside. So that when you get to the scary bits, you
Okay,
can
let's
be like,
moving on to Atlanta now.
All right, Atlanta. This first question was asked by Kenzai. Would it make an Allomancer sick if they tried to burn pure silver, Brandon? As it stands right now, nothing would happen because they would know if it did. Good question. Silver has some interesting properties, but on Scadrial, they are largely undiscovered.
And the only interesting property that we really know is relationship with shades, right?
Mhm. Which not super relevant on schedule.
No, it really isn't.
well, I mean, there's Kelsier.
Kelsier, not a shade. So
Yeah, but what if
Almost-
Spook
almost
wanted
shade.
to shoo him away and he just could have made a ring of silver around him and then Kelsier would have shut up? Easy.
see, I don't know if that would actually work on cognitive shadows.
Well, right, yeah, those are different than shades, yes, for sure.
Yeah, but you gotta test.
Yep. I mean, it is interesting. Maybe there's other properties of silver, though?
It's possible, but they're not part of the metallic arts.
No. Did you enjoy having your hood on, Argent?
I did. I will put it again soon. Again
Great.
on my head.
Next one. Questioner, what does Doomslug eat? Brandon, Doomslug eats mushrooms, among other things. I don't want to say anything more. And Brandon then continues, that's actually shockingly relevant of a question, so, for your audio-only listeners, Argent has a Doomslug shirt.
So,
Hello.
Doomslug eats mushrooms. Emma is obsessed with mushrooms.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's... What's...
Total coincidence.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a coincidence, does it? No.
So, this next question is from a
J of Wu.
analyst of ours that
Oh.
is not present at the moment.
No, he's not.
Joff Wu.
Too
Joffwa.
busy taking care of his kids. How dare he?
Yes. Do the Tranquiline Halls in Damnation, do the Vorans associate them with the planets that they actually are related to? Brandon, they don't.
Did Brandon just confirm that the Tranquiline Halls are ashen?
I mean,
I
Confirmed that a while ago.
no.
didn't he?
Did he?
There's an implicit understanding here.
There's an implicit. He didn't contradict that assumption
I mean,
in the
I think
question.
that's a pretty safe assumption.
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure that's been confirmed before.
I thought it was, but I don't remember. Cool.
They don't. Yeah, that's interesting, but not like amazingly shattered. Like it's just a world building tidbit, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Next question, no longer by J of Wu.
No.
Would a Mistborn see the ATM shadow of someone wearing shard plate? Yes, they would be able to. Good question, but they would indeed be able to.
I think that's new, right? That's
That
new.
is-
That is new.
Yes.
And not
Oh,
super surprising to me.
No, but
No.
what does shard plate shield? You know, like it shields
Yeah.
pushing and pulling, but like, yeah, that wouldn't have to do with like future sight and stuff. So I mean, makes
Yeah,
sense. But
Because the Adium isn't actually doing anything to the shard plate.
right,
It's just looking at connection.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Sure.
but that's still interaction of and based on investiture.
yeah,
Like pushing and pulling are not inherently more physical than ATM shadows. I mean, maybe they are.
I feel like there's a difference from just like looking at
I agree.
something in the spiritual realm and like actively doing something against the shard light.
That is probably true.
One's physical work, one's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
You're not doing work in the physics definition with Atium.
The question would be whether or not you could soothe or riot somebody in plate.
That's a good question.
Which
I would say no.
do not think you
And
would
I
be
would say
able to.
no.
I would definitely say no. Agreed.
If
Totally
if a tinfoil hat can save you from that, then I think plate is also going to be.
No, that's true. That's a very good point.
I mean, that is a completely accurate representation of everything. You're completely correct. But yes, if a tinfoil hat will save you, magical plate made that would, yes, it would protect.
And by
against that.
tinfoil, we mean
Aluminum.
American tinfoil, which is aluminum.
Yes. Great. Next question.
This next questioner asked, can the Storm Striders move when a high storm is not passing, Brandon? No. Can is a strong term. They do not. How's that?
For Brandon on Storm Striders.
So we know there's Spren.
They are Spren.
Mhm.
Can is a strong term. Thanks, Brandon.
I mean, I get the point he's making.
They're not going to do that.
Does this imply that they are technically capable?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
They just
don't want to.
in their nature they just wouldn't, right? That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Like the Stormfather could do a lot of things, but would he? Yeah, I'll pass.
I wonder if the Storm Striders are like Storm uncles
Storm uncles.
or like Storm cousins, right?
Storm nieces, Storm nephews.
The Storm Striders are like the annoying family that Syl just doesn't talk about.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And she does have annoying family she does talk about.
Next question. Do you anticipate ever coming back to White Sand? Brandon, yes, I do anticipate it, but no promises. If I do come back to it, it will not be the novel White Sand. It will be a sequel to the graphic novels.
Okay.
Good.
That's good.
And those sequels should be graphic novels.
Yeah, Ian thinks they should be graphic novels.
I think it makes sense, yeah.
I mean, Brandon should not promise any new projects, really. I mean, let's be real.
No.
No,
Yeah.
No.
not at all.
All right. And now we're on
Not
to
until Stormlight's done.
Houston, the last formal Skyward tour word of Brandon thing.
Yes.
But
So
we'll have the Idaho Falls as well, so that we're not done. Cool.
okay,
We're
so
never done.
Isakar asks, what does Hoyd think of the Ghost Bloods, and what do they think of him? Brandon, the Ghost Bloods are intrigued, and Hoyd is unimpressed.
I
this,
I love
So-
this
Yes.
one so much.
this is one of my favorite words of Brandon. Hoyd's
I am-
unimpressed.
I am waiting for the Mraize Hoyd conversation where Mraize is trying to show off and Hoyd
Oh my
is just so unimpressed with it. Like, you think your collection's
Wow.
impressive.
And no, I mean, like, he's not even going to engage him in this you think your collection is impressive type of thing. He's just gonna like play on the guitar and like
Yeah, like
skip
Hoyd's
stones on the
barely paying
blade.
attention.
Hoyd just uses Allomancy and then then Ray's is like, what? Well, I guess he
And-
knows
and-
about
and
Allomancy, but
Mraize is doing the whole anime girl fangirling with the waving of the hands and
No.
screaming.
no. But that just puts it into perspective that the Ghost Bloods seem very powerful, and Hoyd's just like, losers.
Okay.
Neat.
No, I think it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that Hoyd is this funny, jovial, not caring, just bard that travels the universe. But he's genuinely just powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't even know the full extent of all of his powers. We've just
And-
seen
and-
some of them.
Ancient. Like ancient.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in Oathbringer is when he's talking with Shallan, and she's like, "Are you a herald?" I don't know why Shallan turned into an old man.
I don't know why she turned into the Stormfather for a second there, Argent. But
are
That's
you
not a
an
really
old
caravan
man? And there's a brief scene where she looks into his eyes and sees eons pass
The
and
usual.
mountains crumble. The usual, yeah. The usual.
the usual looking into shards, old people type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we get a very similar scene like this in the deleted Emperor's Soul.
We do.
When
Yeah,
Shai
we
looks
totally do. Yeah,
into
you're totally right.
Lloyd's
Shide looking-
eyes. He's like,
Yep.
Oh wow, I don't know.
storms, not
Didn't
storms,
remember that.
knights.
Yep.
What are you?
Very true. Cool.
Next question comes from Blaine the Train. Is the access to allomancy and feruchemy granted via hemallurgy heritable? No. Good question, says Brent.
Yeah, makes sense. But
So,
Does it?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? That's why it's a good question. But
You're changing your soul, right? So like in spiritual DNA and stuff like that, right?
Brandon has said that Steel Inquisitors having children would be interesting.
yeah, that's the question I was
So-
thinking.
Oh, right. Oh, that's
Because
right.
somebody did ask him about Inquisitors specifically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
But
like
that was like ages ago.
That was
so-
a
Right,
very
so if-
long time ago, yes.
Yeah. if your spiritual DNA is spiritual DNA, and you graft something on top of that,
Yeah.
which is the metaphor Brandon likes to use a lot,
Mhm.
Mhm.
then when you procreate, I guess that graft doesn't
Fully stick,
is
right?
not included
Mhm.
in the spiritual
Yeah.
reproductive material you pass on.
yeah, right.
The Steel Inquisitor thing could be interesting because even if the new DNA isn't passed on, the process of becoming a Steel Inquisitor damages the original spirit web.
Yeah, like there
It
you
could
could
be
pass on
that at
damage.
that point they aren't human
Yeah, he said that too. It's all weird like that.
in
Yeah.
quotation marks.
I was gonna make the comparison to well, what if you have somebody who has a cybernetic, like an additional arm,
Right.
for example,
Yeah, right.
or something like that. That's completely fully integrated with them. They can use it just like their normal arm. That's not something they pass on to their.
I mean, it's even simpler,
Children.
like an organ transplant, right?
I wonder how similar it would be to Kolos blooded.
Yeah, that did kind of like how did Harmony change the Kolos to breed true? Like that's a question.
He gave them penises.
And now for Shardcast After Dark. Sax solo,
Moving on.
Moving on.
Yes.
Careless whispers.
Yes, that was of course.
This next question asked by Paladin Brewer. We know that Hoyd was offered a shard and turned it down. Was he offered a specific shard? Brandon. He was. There was one of the shards that he would have. Yeah. Paladin Brewer then asked, would he have been the 17th person, or did someone take his place? Brandon, no, someone took his place.
That's very interesting.
It is
So
very
the
interesting.
way I'm reading this is, he was offered a specific. Hey, Hoyd, would you like odium? And he was like, nah, bro. And then this ... there's one of the shards that he would have. I think Brandon was going to say that there's a shard he would have taken,
Mhm.
which in the past, he's either said or indicated that endowment
Yeah.
is like, he'd be down for that.
Mhm.
And so they don't offer him endowment or any of the shards that he would have been okay with. They offer him one of the trash tier shards.
Well,
He says no.
yeah.
And they're like, hey, random guy on the street, what's your name? Raise. Okay, here, take this.
Hey, Bavadin's friend, what do you think?
Bavin is-
Hoyd's ex-friend.
Hoyd's ex-friend.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, did we know when they stopped being friends? Maybe Race taking up odium is what ruined the
That's a good
friendship.
point.
Ruined.
I've always found it interesting
Ruined.
that endowment is the shard Hoyd is most interested in.
Yeah.
And the holder of endowment, Edgley, refers to him as dearest Zephandrius. What was their relationship like?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was reading the epigraphs of Oathbringer. I wonder if that is just the way endowment speaks.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
Just like
I gotta-
overly sweet.
Yeah, I get a very condescending vibe from the entire letter, so
Yeah.
I read that as not
Well,
endearing, but as, oh,
yeah.
dear Zephandrius, like, you know.
Hi, voice of
Yeah.
endowment. What do you think?
Yeah.
we heard how you think that should be read. Yeah.
Mhm.
When I was reading that letter, it sounded to me like it had like almost a Victorian vibe.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I can see what you're saying.
So very formal, very strict. So yeah, I'm absolutely okay with they could have had history, and I think that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I think there was history between all of them.
Well,
yeah, but like,
thank you.
History.
history books could be written.
The eyebrow wiggle history.
Yeah.
Right.
This next one's interesting to me. Paladin Brewer also asks, in Secret History, outside of Fodrex City, Kelsier was in the cognitive and Hoyd was in the physical. Kelsier touched Hoyd and got hurt. How did that happen, and was it intentional? And I really meant to reread this scene, but I didn't. I forgot to do that. Because I don't remember.
I can find it
two
quickly.
possibilities.
Like I remember the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he definitely gets hurt trying to touch Hoyd.
Like he gets zapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two possibilities. One, whatever weirdness is going on with Hoyd just naturally does that. Or Hoyd has taken precautions from being affected by entities in the cognitive.
That seems possible. I want to take a little different tack with the Dragonsteel Prime sample chapters, which you can read on Brandon's website, which talked about how, these Zai warriors could hurt the physical by damaging the spiritual. That was on Yolan. And maybe Hoyd has learned to do something like that. Like, he can, and that was with punches, by the way. Punches were able to, destroy things by, hitting their spiritual aspect. I don't know. That's what it was. Spirit punch. I don't know. But, maybe Hoyd just knows how to do
Sounds like
that.
a party trick.
Yeah. I can break all these bricks. But, maybe Hoyd just knows how to do that. It's that's a good way to attack those things. So, I don't know. There's a lot of
But that
possibilities.
also
Maybe.
implies Hoyd was looking into the cognitive realm at that moment
Oh, that's true.
to know that Kelsier was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
My read when I read that scene, and still is, by the way, was that Hoyd just has protection up.
Mhm.
Do you think it also could be something like if someone has enough investiture that if you touch them in the cognitive or something like that, then you're just like, oh, that's a lot of power. Ow. Maybe?
Possibly, and it might also play into the fact that at that point, Kelsier is entirely investiture.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
So,
right, yeah. Right.
Short
some
circuit sort of
investiture
thing.
Yeah.
repels investiture. And
It-
things
like-
that.
It's the equivalent of when you shake someone's hand and get shocked, like with the static shock thing.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Kind of.
I'm trying to think. Something is nudging my brain. Have we seen a scene where somebody touches a lot of investiture in the cognitive? Like, have we
think
seen
so.
investiture interfering or interacting with investiture in there? There's Kaladin looking at the orb. But that's not the same.
I don't know. Kind of weird. More Cognitive Realm Mumbo Jumbo. I think that's going to be the episode title. Cognitive Realm Mumbo Jumbo.
I'm sure.
Easy.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Great.
Okay. So another question from Paladin Brewer.
I like this.
If a person had the power of a Mistborn and other powers like surges, could they use Duralumin to power the surges? Brandon, this is possible.
Don't know how that would work, but I mean, cool. It interacts with those things.
Let's go over that, right? So when you burn Duralumin, what's happening is, so you're burning Duralumin, you're opening a gate, so to speak, in yourself. The power of preservation flows through, and the effect you get is that the if you are burning other metals as well, so if that power mixes with another power, you're kind of diverting a river, right? The second power gets the extra juice.
Right. Yes.
Kind of.
Yes.
Because you're also burning all of that in the same moment, right?
Yeah, it's more facilitating the use of all the other metals, all the reserves at once.
Yeah, it's
like
not,
compressing the investiture into one moment.
Sure, I was going to say, you are turning the any other gate, quote unquote, large. And so you get all of that zap at the same time.
Right, okay. Yeah, okay.
So let's say if you are using that with something like
lashing.
Yeah. I was going to try to find a different example because lashing is kind of instantaneous, right? You lash something and
make
it's
a
done.
giant lash with all your Stormlight. I don't know.
Yeah, like you're going to use up all of your Stormlight like that.
I think regrowth probably sounds the most useful.
Ooh.
You can get some pretty powerful healing from that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like divine breath
see
level.
That.
Yeah, probably.
I can see that.
Depending on how much Stormlight you have on hand.
The lift was kind of at that level already. Like when she healed Gox. Like he was dying.
I mean, Stormlight, they have much more easy access to healing than is in Nelthus, right?
Yeah, just
like
the
also,
amount of power they have on Shard is just.
There's also a difference between like a fresh wound, and Suzerain getting his tongue cut off.
Yeah, like I'm imagining Renarin couldn't heal Rizen's back injury and paralysis.
Right.
Well, we know he couldn't. He tried.
So I'm saying like perhaps.
Oh, if he had Duralumin.
Right. Okay. I mean, then there's like perception coming into the hold, so there's all sorts of weirdness. Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Paladin Brewer.
Yeah,
I've seen him on the forums.
We've talked about his questions before.
Yeah,
cool.
Good name too. It has Paladin. It has Brew. Then the next question is a question Eric is very angry about.
I am. That's true.
Is the lake where the AVR get their powers from survival's perpendicularity?
I just imagine Darth Vader saying, no! Okay.
I mean, you can do an edit.
Well, copyright. Yeah. So,
I think it's fine under 3 seconds.
I think it would be fine, but anyway, let's just have a quick rant, guys. Quick rant. Survival is not a shard. Is not a shard. I coined this the survival shard because in one of my books, there is a shard who wants to hide and survive. What am I supposed to call that? I guess the survival shard. That seems fine.
You could have called it the hiding shard. That would have been more amusing.
That is true.
Yeah, right.
The
survival is not a shard. That is not even related to that shard's intent, like only tangentially related. Yes.
You could argue that all of the intents are tangentially related to survival because all of the shards want to survive.
Yeah. Well, except Ambition, who's just like, yeah, fight me.
Don't shake your head at me, young man.
I'm gonna shake my head. deal with it.
So just to be clear, the lake on Pashi is an autonomy thing.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
also, there's no survival perpendicularity. That's not a thing. I mean,
Also, the AVR don't get their power from the lake.
right, also. Yeah.
They get it from the
Also.
birds
Else.
So
that eat the fruit of the trees that grow next to it.
but anyway, this is one of my rants. Survival is not a shard. Don't capitalize the word intent when you're talking about a shard intent. Okay.
Although that's not in the question. But
Yeah,
just in general.
I know it's not. But just
do
while
that.
we're at it, maybe I should make
Yeah,
like an
also-
angry YouTube video.
Yeah. Also, don't put like socks and sandals.
Great, next question.
If I can pitch in.
Next question. This questioner asked, is it possible for a returned with sufficient knowledge to sacrifice themselves to amend the Oath Pact? Brandon. No, not without work. It just wouldn't work naturally that way. So no. I mean, technically any investiture, with that amount of investiture, there's like a chance they could do something like what you want to do. But I'm going to say kind of would be no.
Interesting.
That
So,
is
I mean-
very interesting.
So to me, it is obvious that a returned would not be able to mend the Oath Pact.
Right.
But the implication that Brandon is talking about here is that you can use the kind of activation of a divine breath for any effect.
Yeah.
And if you scale that up with more investiture, yeah, maybe. Like once you open the door to you can do literally anything as long as you have enough investiture, enough divine breaths, so to speak.
Well, the
So
thing that
does that mean, is my question, that the Oath Pact can be mended with just an infusion of investiture and some intent, command, whatever?
yes. Yeah, with the right intent, yes.
I feel like you, and also like the right person to like fit you like a herald in there, you know, whatever function that is. But yeah, ultimately probably just a lot of power, but you know.
The interesting thing I'm seeing here is that there's the implication that the amount of power in a divine breath would be enough to do something.
I mean, it is a splinter of a shard, and it's like that's not nothing.
Yeah, but like
I don't.
I just
I
felt
don't
like
agree.
relatively like it's much smaller than a shard.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That like yeah, it's a lot of investiture, but like not on the scale you would need.
Yeah.
But this because it's like with that amount of investiture. Referring
Yeah. It's a little vague. Kind of interesting. A lot of return questions. How do things just match up this way? It's so bizarre.
I think we are reading this differently, Ian.
Oh yeah, you two
Okay.
totally are. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at the sentence that says, so no, I mean technically any investiture ... with that amount of
Yeah.
investiture, there's a chance you can have it do something like that. My read of this is with any investiture, thought ends. With that amount of investiture, where that is an indication of, well, we're now talking about a vast amount. And I
Yeah.
think you're reading that as that in a divine breath.
yeah. The thing is he doesn't talk about a vast amount of investiture
Yeah.
previous to this point.
No,
like
he
the only
doesn't.
amount of investiture discussed is the divine breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you're right this
I
time.
often am.
These last two talk about writing, but well, I think they're a little cool. So this question asked about the way Legion ended. And Brandon said that he didn't know that that's how it'd end when he started, and it was more discovery written ending. And Brandon said that that ending was perhaps one of the oddest things I've done. And some people didn't particularly like that ending.
Those people are wrong.
I,
Those people are me and David.
And like half of me.
Half of
Doesn't
you.
make you any less wrong.
Can we distill these two halves of Ian using mechanical processes?
No, because I am a single person.
Let's
I am
throw
not a
Ian
chimera.
in a distillery.
Yeah. Will he make a good brew for paladins to drink?
For paladins. Well, no, it's paladin brewer, so the paladin is
sorry.
brewing
He is brewing it. All right, let's do this last one here.
If any paladins are listening to this, can you brew
Ian.
Ian?
Okay, let's move on. So, any ideas when we'll get the sequel to Warbreaker? No. Basically. No idea when it's going to happen. My goal right now is to get Stormlight 5 out, right, and then alternate Mistborn, Elantris, Mistborn, Elantris, Mistborn. Warbreaker will have to wait and see how that plays out. I do intend to get to it, but it's entirely possible that this won't be something I do until after Stormlight.
Right, Elantris was a trilogy now, not a...
It's
Yeah.
always been a trilogy.
It has always been a trilogy. He's just slowly talked about that. Now, this is interesting, by the way. This is interesting because last we heard, Brandon said he needs to do the Elantris sequels before Mistborn Era 3.
So it might just be he has to get them done before third book of Era 3.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Or I just wouldn't read too much into,
I don't know. Interesting.
Plans 15 years down the line.
Well, yeah. But, like, if there are some things in the Cosmere, like, I was thinking that there was something important in the Elantris sequels that would matter for Era 3. I'm like, how? I don't know how that would be the case. And so it's just interesting to think about that's a little different now. Cool. Well, holy crap. I thought that this one would not be very interesting, but we talked a lot. I don't know if it was interesting. You can talk down in our comments below. We are going to have one more episode on a, not technically a Skyward tour, but one more Words of Brandon episode where he did a holiday signing in Idaho Falls, as usual. And that one does have some cool stuff.
And after that,
Huh?
unless there is a surprise signing
Yes.
in January,
We might,
after that, we're done for a little
we're
bit.
going to have to actually plan a podcast. That's not just reading quotes.
We have been recording Words of Brandon for a month and a half.
To be fair, by the time this one airs, the Hemalurgy podcast will have already been posted. But we're recording that tomorrow, so we haven't done that yet. So, you know what time it is, guys? It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character? And Steel Dancer has made a jingle for us. And it is quite great. And so you will get to hear that now.
This character is from Roshar.
Menace.
Tien.
Tom.
Braze.
Void in drag on a horse.
It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character? Caw. All right. Grace, take us in.
All right, so listeners, you know how the game is played. You send in an email with 5 clues that apply to a character. I read each clue aloud, and after each clue, our contestants have a chance to guess a Cosmere character, and we see who can guess who's that Cosmere character.
I'm really excited to see how robot-y Grace will be for this. I'm very excited.
Was I robot-y for that?
Only slightly.
I think
Only
it's
slightly.
A little bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
All
okay.
right. This one was sent in by Colin.
Hi,
The first
Colin.
clue is, this character is a bit of a flirt.
Blushweaver.
It is not Blushweaver.
Adolin.
It is not Adolin.
Sabarial.
It is not Sabarial.
Ooh. That's a good guess.
Also, Blushweaver is not a bit of a flirt. She is a full-on flirt.
So my rationale was I knew Eric was going to guess Adolin because I tapped Fortune. and-
yes.
Adolin he has a reputation of being a flirt, but he's not actually a flirt. So I figured I would go the other direction.
He's
and
kind of
on
a
average-
flirt. He's a flirt.
He has a reputation as a player. But he's not actually a player.
We've seen him.
He's a
He doesn't encourage anything. He doesn't do any of that.
He's a flirt.
But I figure we take the average of our two guesses. We're still wrong, but combined we have narrowed it down on a bit of a flirt.
Cool. What's the next clue?
The next clue is this character likes to pull little scams.
Wait, what? Say that again?
This character likes to pull little scams. What did you say?
Yalb.
Yes, it is Yalb.
Good guess.
I think this is like the third time we've had Yalb on this show.
Maybe.
Yalb is a very memorable character.
Who's dead?
The next one is this character likes the ocean.
Yeah.
This character's fate is left ambiguous. And this character is Thalen.
I thought you said this character's face is left ambiguous. I'm like, how do you leave a face ambiguous?
You just have one of those evil Sith Lord hoods. This is faces in
right.
shadow. Yeah.
Or, Dalinar, Evie's face was ambiguous until he got his memory back.
Yeah, ambiguous face.
This next one was sent in by I'm in the details.
Ooh, he's
The
inside
devil?
Ian?
I am not the devil.
No, but you are in the details.
I am the details.
Yeah, so he's in you.
I am not in them.
Yeah. You're the
devil is in you.
details, he's in you.
Look, what you and the devil do in your spare time is not our business. We don't.
I don't know how the devil got involved in this.
The devil is in the details is a very common
Oh,
saying.
sorry, I was too busy making my joke to pay attention to Evgeni's.
All right.
Jokes
first-
interfere with jokes.
Yes, that's how it works.
The
Just
first
like
clue
Investor.
is this character is a foil to a protagonist.
Wayne.
Wayne.
It is not
I
Wayne.
guess said it first, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, well you were wrong first.
Adolin.
It is not Adolin.
Okay.
Clue 2. This character is a planner.
Darius?
It is not Steris.
It's a good
Yeah, I
guess.
was
It's
just
a good
gonna
guess.
that.
To a main character, right? A main character.
To a protagonist is what it said.
To a protagonist. Okay, all right. Navani?
It is not Navani.
I really like that one.
Melan.
It is not Milan.
I thought you said melon, as in like the
Like
word Gandalf uses
melon?
to open the doors to Moria.
Welcome to the Lord of the Rings cast.
How is that relevant?
Edro!
Clue
Great.
3. This character has no magical abilities.
Theopolis.
It is not Theopolis.
I don't know. He's sort of a planner and needs a foil for silence. Also doesn't have powers.
Reen?
What did you say? Reen?
Reen, yeah.
It is not Reen.
I was grasping at straws.
I don't know. Give me another clue.
Okay, next clue. This character is from Scadrial.
Oh, that totally ruins my guess.
What was gonna
I
be?
was gonna get Serini.
Oh yeah.
This character is from Scadrial.
It's a foil. Doesn't have powers. Oh, Dachshund.
Yes, it is Dachshund.
Oh yeah, God. All
Oh,
right,
right. He doesn't
easy,
have powers.
easy. Sorry, that was. I should have gotten Dachshund way earlier. Holy crap.
No, in my head, I thought about Dachshund, and I just assumed he was a misting and moved on.
No, he's not a mystic.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
It was like, he's part of Kelsia's crew, therefore he must be a misting.
His misting ability is planning. And then
Yeah,
it pretty much.
He burns notebooks.
probably.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Follow us on 17chart.com. Go to wob.compromise.net for all your Words of Brandon needs. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, and leave us a review on iTunes, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Aw.